currently 52% of our electricity used and 25% of our total energy is now from renewable sources. Quellaveco's renewable energy contracts kick in during this year, 2023, and that will take us all the way up to 100% renewables in South America. And from our Australian steelmaking coal operations, we will transition there to renewable energy contracts from 2025. So, playing our part in helping to address climate change is clearly a central part of our strategy and our sustainability objectives. This is not going to be a straight line in terms of progression, but we're going to continue updating you in terms of our progress and our pathway to meet our objectives. Our progress in the past year or so was centered on three core categories. Firstly, our renewable energy work principally addresses our Scope 2 emissions, which largely arise from our Southern African electrical supply, as well as globally our reliance on diesel in the haulage of our product in and around the mines. So as planned, we entered into the Envusa Energy Partnership with EDF Renewables and announced the first 600 megawatts of wind and solar projects as part of a larger 3 to 5 gigawatt program over the next decade. Now, we've already agreed commercial terms for 2 wind sites of 140 megawatts each, 1 solar site of 200 megawatts in the Eastern Cape. And in addition to that, we have 2 behind-the-meter operations, both solar sites at our mines Sishen and Mogalakwena. Now, at Sishen, that's a 70 megawatt photovoltaic installation, is now undergoing already some work in terms of site stabilization and the pre-development of construction activities. The plan is to close financially on this project in the next quarter or so, and then launch full construction by quarter 4 of this year. Similarly to Mogalakwena, where we have 130 megawatts behind the meter, is on the way to financial close, and we expect to start construction on that project in the 4th quarter of this year too. So, of course, we have a much larger portfolio of energy projects in the development pipeline, and that's going to follow this first wave. So next year, all being well, I'm hoping to show you a couple of pictures of some of these projects in construction that should be coming on in 2024 and in 2025. Alongside these, as you know, we've also developed and are now testing the world's largest hydrogen-powered haul truck. And at the start of 2023, we combined NewGen, which was our part of this venture, with our partners on the Project First mode. And the purpose of this was to accelerate the development of this technology and also commercialize this technology more rapidly than we would be able to do all on our own. The second category of our emissions that really bears a lot of attention is that of methane from our steel making coal operations. So this would very much, with diesel and electricity in Southern Africa, be the largest component of our Scope 1 emissions today. We now already capture around 60% of the methane from our steel-making coal mines, and we actually use that methane to generate electricity for the local region. A total of about 100 megawatts of energy-making capacity is available for use from this captured methane. The remaining 40%, which is much lower in concentration, is the next focus area for us. And initial concepts that have already commenced and are starting to now identify the best approaches for this VAM abatement, so vent air methane abatement, as well as methane emissions reduction. We're working very closely with some new technology vendors and engineering partners to progress from pre-feasibility, where we are now, to feasibility study for VAM abatement project with the design and construction of an industrial unit here for Moranbah in Australia. So this will be the first of its type, and it is intended then, based on the back of the success of that, to then roll out a template for further deployment for the rest of our underground operations in Australia. We have established a pretty big ambition here, but note that this ambition is very much dependent on the decarbonisation progress of the steel industry, given its emissions represent 2/3 of our Scope 3 footprint. So steel industry Scope 1 and 2 emissions are our Scope 3 emissions, and a lot of the change in this space must come from them as well as from us. And so for those elements that we have slightly closer to ourselves and under our control. Some news here, of course, is that the first 2 of 10 LNG vessels have now entered service for us on the South Africa to Asia route, and we are expected to deliver here a 35% reduction of carbon dioxide compared to conventional marine fuel vessels. And just a couple of weeks ago, we signed a memorandum of understanding with H2 Green Steel. Now, H2 Green Steel is a Swedish hydrogen and steel producer, to work together with them on the advancement of low-carbon steelmaking processes using our premium quality iron ore products from both Kumba and from Minas Rio. All right, so what does this journey look like for us in terms of Scope 1 and Scope 2? So this is our pathway in terms of reaching carbon neutrality by 2040. So our Scope 1 and 2 emissions are now down 21% since the peak that we saw in 2019, and reflects, I think, the very important progress that we have made on our journey. Although still quite a significant amount of work needs to be done, as you can see, to deliver our 2030 target, which is 30% reduction against 2016, and full carbon neutrality for the whole of the portfolio that we currently have under management by 2040.